Hello and welcome. This is part of our network automation series. In this video, we are building a CML lab that connects to the internet. We have CML running on VMware Workstation. It's connected to a NAT interface from my VMware Workstation. It gets in this IP address 192.168.24.151. So if we've done these configurations in a previous video, if you want to have a look at. So let's log in and check the internet connectivity. So we connect as sysadmin, and if I provide the password, and now if I ping google.com, we have name resolution, we have the connectivity, everything is working. So if we exit the console and go to the GUI, we have an empty lab. So let's add a lab here and add devices. So we need a router. So if I go to this device, drag one, and then we need a switch. We need one desktop machine. We need Ubuntu machine. These are clients I need to connect to the internet, and then external connectivity. So that's all we need. Let's organize and name the devices. This is our router. So if we click on this router, we can call it router. And then here says switch, I need to connect to the internal LAN. So click again and call it switch. Accept that name. And we have the external connectivity. Let's just do the same. Just remove the number, whatever it is. Then here, this desktop. The desktop, we call it desktop. Accept that. And here, let's call Ubuntu. Accept this one. And we'll do the cabling now. So from the first interface of the switch, let's say add link, connect to the first interface 00, connect to the 0/1 of the router, and then 00 of the router goes to external connectivity that has one port, and that's all good. And here I need to connect the Ethernet from that desktop to the second, because 00 connected to the router, 01 to this device, and then add another link connected to this third interface. Now we have two devices, Linux machines connecting to a switch, and that switch connecting to a router, and an interface that connects us to the internet. This external connection from the CML lab, it will connect and it will provide an interface from here and an interface to connect to my interface of the VMware Workstation. So in the VMware Workstation, as I said, we are on the NAT interface. Here NAT, you can change to other interfaces if you want to, but I selected NAT, so that has an IP address, a DNS, every configuration, and we tested the connectivity there. Now, and if we go back to this lab, and if we create few things, we need those devices to get a DHCP IP address from this router. So this router will provide an IP to the local LAN. And this local LAN, let's give the IP address. So if I collect the text and draw text, and if we put it here 10.1.1.0/24, if we do that, and let's remove the space, this network is the interface 0/1 of the router, and there we get in a DHCP. So let's start with the router configuration. Provide an IP automatically from here, an IP statically from here. Then those devices should get a DHCP pool IP address from the router. So let's create the pool and the interfaces. For the router, we need to first enable and start, and let's also start the interface connection, external connection. So if we go to the router, right click and go to the console, and this window might be small. First time it might be this size, so you want to increase it if you want to, or you can and align how you like it. This router is now up. Let's name it. Go to enable mode, then config mode, and let's call it host name router. That's now our router. If you say do show IP interface brief, we have those interfaces with no IP address and they are down. The first one, we need to create a DHCP IP. So interface Ethernet 0/0. Let's get an IP address dynamically, so DHCP, and let's say no shut. So that should get an IP assigned from the external connection. And let's exit this interface, go to the second interface, which is 0/1. That's our internal, and maybe add some description. Description LAN 01, and its IP address is going to be 10.1.1.1 255.255.0, and we say no shut and no shutdown. And if we exit and save this part, now the devices from that network here, we have 10.1.1. we need to provide a pool that provides IP addresses there. So in the router, we're going to configure IP DHCP pool, but before that, let's exclude some IPs, DHCP and excluded address, IP DHCP, IP DHCP, and excluded address, yeah, 10.1.1.1, which we gave to the router. After maybe the first IP addresses, 5 IP addresses, we don't want to provide those to any client. And if we go to the pool name now, IP DHCP pool, and let's call it LAN 01, and we provide a network which is going to be 10.1.1.0 255.255.255.0. The default router for this subnet is going to be the router interface 0/1, so that's 10.1.1.1, and a DNS server, and the DNS server is actually from my lab, and this is going to be this IP. So if I show you ping.google.com, that gets me to the network. And if I go to the CLS, and if we do ipconfig/all, the interface I'm connected to, it's here. So that is Ethernet 3 network adapter, and I'm getting the DNS as this machine, this one here. So that's my broadband router, so 254. Let's provide the IP. So DNS server is going to be 192.168. I'm reading something else. 254. And if we now exit the pool and exit again, save it, we have 2 interfaces enabled. We also have a pool, so these machines should get a pool, an IP, I mean, from the pool. So let's enable it, start, and then of course the switch in the middle, we start that one as well. And if we go to the console of that machine, desktop, and the first thing the device does is to look for an IP. Still booting, give it time. Yeah, let's log in as Cisco, and let's check if config, and we're getting an IP, not yet. So that is the interface. Let's wait, run it again. Okay, so our pool is coming from the router. The switch just came up. It takes time for spanning tree to settle down. So let's try again. Yes, so now we have .6, and we reserve up to 5. So the Ubuntu server should also get the same, maybe 7, because this one got the first one. So let's go to the console of this machine, open console, and let's log in as Cisco as well. Cisco, and that machine is ready. So let's say IP address, and this is getting .7, so we are ENS3. So we know this router now has a pool that can provide an IP to those clients, and they have, these clients, they have a default route, DNS, everything from the pool. They will forward their traffic if they're going to the internet to the router, because that's their default gateway. Now the router will check its routing table if it knows how to reach 8.8.8.8. Since we get in DHCP from here, there will be a default router provided also from here to the router. So that means this router, it will have connectivity to the upstream. let's go to the router and check Bing google.com. The router can reach google.com. That means it can resolve the name to 172.2.1.7.16. That's the host name. But the second thing is it has the root as well, because we've provided this interface, show an IP interface brief. We provided that through DHCP. And then if we say show IP root, you see here there's also default root provided through that. So this subnet which gave you the IP address here, it's also providing a default root. So that's why the router is reaching the internet. And these devices, to reach the internet, they need few additional configurations. So they're coming from this subnet 10.1.1. As soon as they hit here, if the router doesn't translate that subnet to its external interface, or that subnet there, which was 192.168.255, let's add actually some annotation here. It is 192.168.255.0/24. That's the subnet we're receiving from the external connection. So let's get this one a bit sorted. So we have subnet from there, subnet from here. We need those IPs coming from here to be translated to that. So my router, my broadband router, will understand where this is coming from. Otherwise, it will drop it. So the second part of the video, I'm going to show you how to configure those things. But for now, thank you for your time and see you in the next video.